the really short form about what's going on here is there's this race called the Elden. They're the most powerful race in the galaxy, like the best magic, best tech. And then they disappeared, and nobody knows why. And so every zone has parts of the story sort of buried within it, usually technology and magic that's gone horribly wrong. In this case, this is the Halon Ring. It's about a level 40 zone, a very sci-fi kind of heavy zone. And some unusual things about it is, first of all, it's low gravity. So fighting here, you can sort of super jump wherever you want, which makes combat a little trickier or more interesting, depending. So combat here is a little different than any other zone or any other land-based zone. This is like it's kind of Sargasso Sea in space. This is where the defense network was, and so it's been shooting down spaceships for millennia. And they crash here. It attracts them in to crash in this kind of area. And so there's a giant spaceship graveyard, all full of space debris that's kind of raining down all over the place. So we'll go show that as well. And we'll just flip there. I'm going to cram in as much content as we can show, but feel free to take me off the rails or ask questions or any of that. You'll notice dynamic stuff that's smacking into the ground around here. Sometimes they're helpful things, sometimes they're harmful things, sometimes it's both. The whole area is infested by pirates. This is a good example of a mix of fantasy and sci-fi because there's actually a witch here who is raising the dead of all the crew members of these lost ships. And so there's all sorts of undead stuff scattered around in space, making us, like in this particular case, a robot with a giant sword on his back in space, super jumping, surrounded by spaceships with witches and undead. So it's kind of a mix of all that sort of stuff. A good example of the dynamic stuff, it's a little tricky to demo dynamic things because they're just random, is one of the things that can fall out of the sky is a vending machine. Useful, a little vendor as you go there. Because we are WildStar and we're a little weird, also can fall down possessed vending machines who will then come to life and spring apart and try to beat you up. And so we do a lot of stuff differently between dynamic content. We have our sort of action-based combat systems. There's a lot of like movement and dodging and jumping involved in combat. But one of the things that makes us different is I guarantee you will probably never fight a vending machine spitting giant soda cans into the air affected by low gravity, spitting soda out at you. There's a personality to our game that's tough to describe, but this is probably effectively it. We're not scared to do things that are mildly weird. Combat for us. We go for sort of action combat. You'll notice telegraphs on the ground. Monsters say when they're going to do a bad thing. When you do one of your attacks, you see sort of a blue thing on the ground showing where you're doing damage. This makes it a little easier at low levels, and at high levels what it does is it's a way to communicate with your party members, because you say, I'm going to cast a healing spell here, or I'm going to do a lot of damage there, you drag monsters nearby. This makes a very dynamic kind of battleground. Mixed in with most stuff in the environment is reactive in some fashion. Either plants will explode or heal things or do damage, or if they don't, often scientists can unlock hidden powers of the things that the other paths think are just normal parts of the environment. So we kind of go for a lot of variety in terms of monster types, not just the vending machine bots, but every damn creature, and a lot of per fight variants. We think that it's very easy to get bored during the leveling game, and so we give you a lot of variety as you level up. And then we have deep elder games, war plots, which are giant battle fortresses, housing, of course. We'll show housing live too for the first time. That's never gone public before. In this case, you explore a skeleton, and you get a whole bunch of little guys who attack you. If you're smart, you'll actually lure monsters in and let them get attacked once you discover that these little creatures are buried under the ground, so that you can start beating them up as well. In the interest of time, we'll go pop over to some other areas, and I'll show you low-level stuff and how that kind of works. Each race kind of comes to Nexus for its own reason. The Draken, it's because they think they're like the fiercest hunters on the planet. And so if you go play Daradoon, you get part of the Great Hunt. This is what's playing on the show floor. Here's a zone that's kind of before you even get to Daradoon. You have to infiltrate this island. And there's usually, again, like big things to do. We're level 3 now, and our first mission is we have to go sneak over to the satellite dish, sabotage the generators. There's a giant shield covering this whole area, and then our good guy forces can come in and disrupt the exiles who have set up camp here. So we like doing big things kind of early, and even in your first couple of combats here, you're still seeing, interesting telegraphs, interesting things that are in the environment. For instance, that little light beam. There's ships flying overhead. They see you, and now a red beam comes down because they're going to do an orbital strike. And if you're wise, you can use this to actually damage the monsters as you fight them. If you're unwise, you probably catch it on the chin. There's stuff kind of like that everywhere, from low grav pads to dynamic shrines and things that appear to make some creatures more tougher. New quest hubs can pop up. We like doing a lot of dynamic content in the area. As we were talking, though, it's often players don't even notice it, but we enjoy it. It makes replayability like much more of a thing. This character is an explorer. You choose your race, you choose your class. Your path is like a play style. People self-identify as, I like exploring, and I primarily play games to sort of get little hints and see hidden things and unlock hidden caverns. Or they're combat, and so combat people we give like 30% more combat missions to, or they're socializers, and then we reward them for helping other players. Those are settlers. They get to build up quest hubs, make them put new buildings in the world that basically make areas better. So this guy's an explorer. He's got him led into this cave, and now he's got a little puzzle down here in the corner to solve, of like a little hot, cold kind of thing, to figure out exactly where to place a sensor in here. And he's doing this while dodging pieces falling from the cavern roof. It's a good example of the kind of things explorers do. They tend to get non-combat missions. They tend to go to out-of-the-way places, and they tend to involve dodging or jumping or otherwise interacting with the environments. They can make cliff ledges appear going up the sides of the cliffs. And these things happen for real. Their party members can use the same cliff ledges or other people in the area. And we try to incent the paths to play together. So if you're a combat guy and you have a weapons testing mission to go destroy a certain type of creature with an experimental weapon, maybe there's more of those at the top of the cliff. And so as the explorer unlocks your way up there, now you can do your quests and your path missions a little bit easier. And you get XP for helping people of other paths. So we'll blow up the shield here. The world's built so we can change things dynamically. Skyboxes, lighting, big props, special effects, all that kind of stuff. So we give a little camera to show what's going on, but all this just happens out in the open world where we can do some pretty interesting things with changing terrain or changing things at real time. We can do it for single players in a phase. We can do it for groups so that everything works together in a group, or we can do it out in the open world and change it for everybody. And we kind of mix those up sort of all over the place. And what we try to do as well is that we're telling a story here. There's a storyline that runs through each zone, but then a lot of stuff is found, or it's just to be explored. Some stuff is epic and cool. Some stuff is goofy because we like to amuse ourselves, and we think people get bored when you play through hundreds of hours of the same stuff. So an example here is there's you're fighting these kind of like ragtag guys, sort of Mad Max sort of stuff. And up ahead, what this guy is there was, as the shield was around this area, a Vindball team crashed. A Vindball is like a football kind of game that's played in the housing areas. And this guy's the sole survivor. And so amongst the sort of normal epic content, you can fight a possessed vending machine or a 40-foot tall hulking football player who ate the rest of his football team. We're kind of not scared to mix all that sort of stuff together. And we're also not scared to give you big, tough stuff to fight, even at level 6, even stuff that might require a group to take out or a coordinated match, because we trust players. We think most players have played MMOs before, and so we are trying to make a game that both new players can do, but also elder players can be challenged by. So we mix all of this kind of together. Let's go show more content, because I want to cram as much as possible before housing. And hit me with questions, because I talk fast. And I like going off rails, and so feel free to ask anything. Let's go pop over to a place of your choice. Do you want to just do housing? We can do that too. Okay, we'll do that. So let me talk about a new video initiative we're doing. I've done videos in the past. We do blur videos, which are awesome and cool, but it's just giving you the vibe of the game. Or we have done personality videos. This is like every time we do a new race or a new feature, we do an in-game cinematic that is high personality to do it. Dominion, Exile, that kind of stuff. So here's an example of one that we're doing for people who have played MMOs before, to explain some of the features in the game, where we can dig in a little more deeply and talk like normal human beings to other normal human beings, as much as we are normal and as much as our fans are normal, which is not guaranteed. And just dig into what features are. And so this is one that's going live today, talking about housing for the first time publicly.
Welcome to WildStar. This is DevSpeak. Disclaimer time. This series is about getting into the nitty-gritty of WildStar. That said, we're going to start with something you might not expect. It's one of our core features: housing. Let's start at the beginning. How do you get a house? Well, just find yourself a Producer housing specialist. You'll see them pretty early on. Bring some cash and you are G2G. They'll send you straight to your sky plot to start building. You'll want to clear off any, shall we say, undesirables. Oh, what up? You can stay. First, you can build a little campsite. Then you'll get a starter home. Eventually, you can buy some pretty crazy domiciles. Once it's built, you can customize and decorate the hell out of it. And really, you can do anything. I mean, inside, outside, walls, roofs, doors, windows, wallpaper, furniture, it's all fair game. Put a floating chair and an upside-down table. See if I care. But housing in WildStar isn't this isolated secondary feature. It's actually woven into your entire gameplay experience. You'll find items for your house all over the game, from random drops to quest rewards to crafting. It will become your home base, and a place that provides you with a myriad of conveniences. An easy example? Logging off in your house grants you more rest XP than anywhere else. More cool items in your house? More rest XP. Remember how I said you can decorate the outside of your house? Well, you can actually construct buildings and facilities. We call them plugs. They fit into spots on your land called sockets. This is where the real action happens. Like to cook? Build a garden to harvest ingredients. Need some more? Build a mine. Can't bring the deeps? Practice on a target dummy. Tired of facing that mob of players around the public workbench? Build your own and craft in peace. Your plugs will give you daily quests, resources, and more. But they do take some time to build up. Don't worry, because you can teleport to your house anytime from anywhere. Housing is also a little bit of a social scene. Set your plot to allow your friends and neighbors to visit, or open it up to the public. It's not just about showing off. You'll be looking at some serious perks. Can't log on for a week? Get a buddy to maintain your garden, and they'll get a portion of the reward. Bandits raiding your neighbor's property? Lend a helping hand, gun, or sword, and earn yourself some bounty. Hardcore raider? How about a personal raid portal? With a buff. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. We are making a big effort to make player housing a major part of the game, and I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it as much as I do. Well, maybe not as much as I do. This is only the tip of the iceberg for housing, but that's all I can show you for now. If you want more info, you can hit us up here or here. Remember, the devs are listening.
And so what we're doing is basically trying to, as we do new features, new classes, actually give a little insight into A, what the process is, and B, talk about it in a non-hypey fashion, because we're kind of a no-hype team anyway, and that's pretty much who we are. So let's walk through housing. We'll actually show it live, so that it's not video mystery and things hidden behind it. When you get your housing, you you buy your land from Producer, and they've kind of put a fast one on you because it turns out your land has been ripped out of the ground and sort of hurled into the sky so that they can sell more houses. And also it turns out in this particular case that your house is built on an old pet cemetery, and so there's a variety of undead nasties that have to be cleared out before you can actually start building your stuff. I'll pop in the end boss of that just so you can see sort of what the tail end of the quest chain is like. Because there is a buried under your land that's caused all this trouble is a giant sort of skeletal demon creature who must be dispatched before you can actually start placing things on your land and in your house. And this is kind of common for the sort of thing we do, where we mix in some combat things in this area, as well as it's a little quest hub. It's where you get the bulk of your, if you log out here, you get more rewards than if you log out anywhere else. This is kind of your safe haven in many ways for, you go and do things out in the open world, like maybe cut down some herbs and get some seeds. You come back here to plant them and nurture them, so that when you log on the next day, there's a lot of cool things waiting for you. And we let you customize the living crap out of it. By outside, you can place things on the ground. You can also, sort of place things on spots on your house. Outside, we give you hooks to hang things on. And the reason why is we don't want people bogging down an area by putting a crap ton of different things, a million light sources or different, props and things around. But it's still large. We let you do a lot of stuff. And even in and you can also place things on the ground directly. And we try to have as much as possible be functional. Fire that you can cook on. Defenses that might help you if you do combat nearby. That sort of thing. The first time that we put housing in the game, there were about 100 of us in the first playtest. We're now at like 209 or something like that people. And in the first hour of our playtest, we put down 64,000 objects as we're tracking it in the database. It's very fun, just when it's even decorative, to go nuts and just fully decorate your area. And have full control over where things go, what scale they are, what size, where it's placed, all that sort of stuff. So pop inside, because inside we let you place things totally anywhere. And these aren't sort of like fake objects. They have physics to them. They have, you can build a new floor to your house by putting planks down or shelves or any of that kind of stuff. And there's a large number of assets, even as we're not even in closed beta yet, although that will actually start soon. And still already, not only are there a whole bunch of things to place, but we kind of grade you a little bit. These are buffs you get your rest XP depending on the kind of cool stuff that you have in an area. And it's a breezy, you can put apparently treasure on your ceiling. And it's really just click it and it'll stick wherever it goes. You can place things in other things. Everything has sort of full physics to it. You can stack stuff. You can climb on it. Other players can interact with it. It's a full-fledged system. It's not a partial system. And we give people a lot of building blocks. So if you want to build like a little cage to try to lock other players in, although they can always harp out of it, not be trapped. Or store things in. Okay, we give you pieces, and then we let you turn them, manipulate them fully, move them wherever you want, float them in the air, any of that kind of stuff, we sort of allow you to do. And the stuff that even our employees have built is totally crazy, and as we let more and more players in, the goal is to have full freedom over making your area what you want it to be like. So even in the dev stage, this has been some pretty cool stuff. This gets aided the more and more things we add that have effects on them. You can get trophies by killing rare monsters and hang the heads up on the wall, or even raid monsters. The cooler trophies you have up, the more of a bonus you get to your rest XP based on the best trophies that are around and the best trophies in the game. You get points for putting in different comfortable furniture. You get points for the ambiance that you've set up. What we've really tried to do, you get points for actually the different lighting things that you can set up, so to incent people to have well-lit houses. Mike, in this case, has built a little cage, and now he's putting little plus animals in the cage, which probably says more about Mike than anything else, which kind of scares me. I work with this man. Even in beta, there's a whole ton of things. You can either buy them from a vendor, you can find them in the open world. Crafters make a lot of these things, especially they make fabrication kits, which you then use to make like plugs and this sort of thing outside your house. In fact, let's go show some of that too. We have a dynamic terrain system. Anywhere that we mark as being a plug can have any number of different sockets in it. This can change the terrain, it changes spawns, it changes lighting, it changes skybox. We can do pretty much anything in terms of merging maps together and switching in different things to this. We use it as devs to have a very live environment where we're able to add lots of stuff to the game. And we hand that power over to the players by giving them stuff like, you name it. Actually, you name it. What are you making? We'll put in a garden. And can you run up while it's building? Things take time to build. Sometimes it's very short. It's very quick at the low levels. It gets very long at the high levels. And we like to involve crafters and things like that to be able to speed stuff up. In this particular case, if we have seeds, you find them out in the open world. You cut down herbs and things. You get leaves and stuff like that, like you normally would. And you also get some seeds to bring back. And now all sorts of things can happen. Some of the plants interact so that one kind of plant makes everything near it grow faster or have better chance of rare spawns. There can be rare results of of different plants and things come up. Mike sped up time so we can actually see stuff growing in real time, but this grows over hours or grows over days unless we put our cheats on. Because we want players to feel a sense of investment on this. And of course it's WildStar, so harvesting's super easy. Just slash away and the same sort of attacks you use on everything else kicks it out, and then you'll see seeds coming out, you'll see different plant leaves coming out, so that now you can go to a crafting station and be able to actually turn these things into food or cook with them. But there's all sorts of plugs you can have on your house. Some are just decorative, but most of them we're trying to attach interesting things. So wishing well, where you can put in coins every day and there's a chance of a rare item appearing. Or taxi stations, raiding statues so that you can buff yourself up before you go on a raid. So there's sort of more group play, especially with it. The this is a low gravity pad over here, and so once you jump on that, it basically gives you low gravity in the area, so that now you can jump super high. Is there a purpose to that? I don't know. Probably it interacts well with some house quest that comes into the area, and if not, it's just fun. We're not scared to do things that are just for kicks. That's a taxi station he's jumping over, or in here there can be rare spawns appearing, and the rare spawns can give you achievements, or they can drop quest starters, or they can give you little trophies for other places. So there's even a point to sort of the little hedge magey type things that are in your house as well. It's like the world's toughest jabbit. In this particular case, you get an achievement for it. So there's like little things to farm in the area as well. Our overall goal is just to make it so that you feel like most of the stuff you've got doesn't come from vendors. It either comes from things you earned in the game, or it comes from crafters. So there's a healthy sort of economy and interaction. So instead of me going blah blah blah, hit me up with questions or ask about anything we have shown one way or the other, or stuff we haven't shown.
I see you have like a night and day system in here.
Mm-hmm. Can you make it be night? Yep. Here's the short form. We do some tricks. There's learning. A lot of the team came off the World of Warcraft team, and so there's tricks like in World of Warcraft, you may never have noticed this, but the sun always rises and sets in the same spot, and then the moon rises and sets in the same spot. This is so you can bake in lighting, so that you always know where your light sources are in the environment. So we do some of those tricks, but we have like more moons and more planets and all that, so we can't get away with quite as easy of a trick. So these are all dynamic light sources that that work at night, throw spotlights, all that kind of thing. If you want to pop inside and throw down a haunted window, or not if you don't feel like it. We like doing those kinds of tricks and giving the player power over them as well. An example here is when you place windows in your house, we make the house bigger inside than it is outside, because otherwise you'd feel very constrained in like the larger size houses. And so when we put down windows, we usually attach things like light sources and things to them, like a trick. Like you'll notice in this case, this is a haunted window, and so there's a storm outside, so it's casting light and shadow and all that sort of stuff to represent that. Or here's a train sort of going by outside that particular haunted window. And we group in little sets like spookiness, or there's like a cute sort of flower set that a lot of the Orin like to use. But we try to give as much of this to the player as possible as well. It even scales. Like if you plop down, do you mind popping down a marauder lamp or something like that? The fact that everything is just sort of systemized means that, okay, we can plop down a little wandering lamp post. We can scale it to sort of grow it or shrink it, and the light sources on it scale or grow with it. The fact that it's sort of fully systemized means we put a lot of the power in the player's hands. That's probably a long answer for saying, do you have a day-night cycle? But yeah, we have a day-night cycle.
Got more than I was hoping for. It's awesome.
In catering to all the different type of players, how do you add all these extra options without making it too complex for new players?
So what we try to do is this. First, we try to cater towards sort of experienced gamers first. And the reason why is because that's what we are. And when you try to make a game that's not for you, you usually flop. But then what we try to do is combine a lot of individually simple systems. For instance, the mine's blowing up. That's inherently simple. If you step on it, you get blown up. You kind of expect that. You lure a monster over it blows up. Okay, you kind of expect that. And new players probably just avoid the mines and don't do anything with them. Experienced players try to lure a whole bunch of creatures in so they get blown up by a mine. Show whatever you feel like, and then if you want to wander over to Aldrock at some point, even if you got to shut it up and down, I can talk to some of that stuff there too. What this means is that there's a complexity based on combining a number of inherently simple systems. So if you're in the Daradoon on the show floor, you'll see new players going in and killing stuff and having a grand time. You'll see an experienced player who is doing their path stuff, at the same time as they're doing quests, at the same time as they're doing time challenges, at the same time as they lure creatures over to the huntresses to gain more reputation because they cheer you on. That's helping them complete a public quest at the same time to go put skulls up on the pikes. New players don't know this. They're just out there killing crap, and it's fine. That's a totally valid way of playing the game. We're doing like one quest at a time. But the mixture of having enough density in an area of interesting things, this is how Batman Arkham Asylum, they tend to take a zone and then they have a whole bunch of stuff layered in the zone. Oh, here's a Riddler puzzle next to a hidden secret door thing, next to stealth combat that has to be done. They're smart about that. They layer stuff in an area. We take that and ratchet up about 9 notches and then do it in an area. But the inherent, each part of that is simple.
I was going to ask, do you have systems in place for sharing housing, say like with your girlfriend or something, so they come in, edit furniture in your house because you gave them permission to?
We haven't done that yet, but we plan to. I'm leery of promising stuff because it has to meet the reality of implementation and then going through people playing it to say it. But our intention is yes, in part because I suck at decorating. I'd love to pay someone and hand them a permission slip that says, okay, you can decorate my house for me, which lets you move stuff but not steal stuff. Please go decorate my house. That'd be fun, not just for your girlfriend doing it, but also for put that on the auction house. Now you have a little, almost player questing system moment in terms of that. So here's a good example. The sheep are scared of you, and so they run away. Simple. There's a bunch of mines in the area. Simple. If you feel like it, you can try to scare the sheep into the mines, which is kind of brutal. You do that enough times, and it can spawn a challenge or an achievement to go do more of it. Most players will never notice that, but we don't care. It's okay, But nobody's scared away by the fact that we either have mines or the sheep. Or can you look out at the horizon? That blue crystal is lighter than air, and so it both raises chunks of terrain up and all that. So there's nice 3D play space over there, but it makes you lighter in air, so you can super jump whenever you're near it. Some players will never even see it. Others wander near it, and then let's swing over to the cliff type area. So you jump normally. You get near blue crystal. Now all of a sudden you're super jumping. And because it's a low gravity area, what that means is that if you, for instance, get hit by a mine and knocked up in the low gravity area, those things add together. You get a jump buff that adds together. If you're a scientist, you can scan the crystals to jump even higher. So I actually put myself in the low Earth orbit as a scientist at one point by hitting a mine while scanning a crystal while there was a discovery nearby with a jump buff, all getting hit by the mine knocked through a low grav area. These things are all simple, but the combinations can be quite complex. And so most of our testers have not been intimidated by having too much to do. But some are. At the end of the day, we're trying to make a game. Step one is make a game fun for us, and then step two is try to hit other groups. And with friends especially, your friends leading you through it makes it really, easier experience.
Is that the goal with having stuff in the game that's not well defined? Do you want players to discover it and then share it with other players in the community?
Absolutely. And a good example of that is, explorers get to unlock all these hidden areas. Under most zones, there's a hidden cavern system, and you can move in the hidden caverns about 3 times as fast below ground as you can above ground. So they have this sort of fast travel network beneath the ground that no one else has access to. But they can let their friends in there. And so now, if you are grouped with or near an explorer, you get benefits for kind of having done so. But explorers, we've hidden stuff for them all over the place because that's their play style. We just basically say, hey, look, there's something on top of this cliff. Go find out what it is and reward them when they get up there and unlock the next thing. Other players are never led to the top of the cliffs at all, and for them it's just undiscovered content of holy crap, what's all this doing up here? So we both cater to the play styles, but then also make sure it's kind of experiential by everybody as well. Don't fly over the robot or Gallerus or any of that. Yeah, or not's fine too. Do as thou wilt.
Did your house get raided by other players?
Not right now. I'd be surprised if we don't do some kind of a quest along those lines, one of the daily quests of the house at some point. It sounds like fun. Now, what we do is we have what we call war plots. War plots takes all the housing tech, and you can make either a 20v20 or a 40v40 PvP map by building it yourself out of component pieces. And what this does is allow for elder game PvP that is organized. It's like arenas on some form of steroid. And so you build out an entire battleground, so multiple structures and houses. You can do things like capture raid bosses and pin them down and send them out to go beat up your enemy's war plots. So that's kind of like PvP housing in a nutshell. But it's more than just a house. It's really kind of a whole neighborhood full of stuff. This is a hidden area up at the top of that cliff if you happen to be able to super jump your right way up there. And here there's a ship that's crashed in the lake. You get to go, if you go and you take the ice out of the engines, the ship rises up, and then this quest hub gets bigger once the ship is up in the air because the merchants get buffed by the ship being up. little stuff like this kind of hidden everywhere. I don't know how we put it as a bullet point on the side of the box, but it's a very hard world to get bored in, that is for sure. Because this is just, chock full of everywhere. This is not demo content. This is just, we just pulled up the level 6 zone for Exiles.
With the new housing system, do you anticipate players wanting to create their own housing items? Especially with...
Yes, we anticipate they're going to want to, but unless we want the world of, male genitalia or, the land of swastikas or whatever the heck obnoxious things players will do, we probably won't allow that. But it's true that if you take, planks and whatnot, you can build a whole loft to your house. It all has physics to it. So you can actually take some of the fundamental objects and create all sorts of crazy stuff. And probably some of that will mean stuff we have to ban people for, would be my strong guess anyway.
I'm just going to say it is 5 o'clock. I'm not sure if there's other meetings that you guys have to do because we did start a little late. I'm waiting for Chad to join. I'm not sure where he is, so just wanted to let you know as well.
Cool. Aren't I on a panel or something?
You're at 5:30.
Okay, cool.
So you have 5 minutes.
Okay, sweet.
I'll show you.
Mike can also speak to it if needs be as well, although it's hard to demo and answer questions at the same time, but he's been here for every demo, so he can answer almost anything himself now, too.
I just faced this daunting task again, and it's not impossible to try and drive, make it look fun, and at the same time answer some quirky left field questions.
So that's a discovery that Mike just ran by. These are everything from hidden chests full of loot. They're all dynamic. They're spawned almost completely dynamically. Sometimes it's a dungeon entrance that'll pop up. Sometimes it is, I don't even know what this is, an enhancement field generator. And I have no earthly idea what it will do. We'll find out with you guys.
It gives me
It's giving you a capacity buff and increasing your endurance. Now you can run longer and faster and all that kind of stuff. So that was just a little buff station is the short form. And so they could be quite simple to really quite complex depending on what they are. Our favorite ones are ones that affect how you play in the area. Like there's an altar. The more stuff you kill near the altar, you can unlock extra rewards off it. And so, boink, we'll click through here. It's an interface. Normally we are completely free of that kind of stuff, but we know that there's one in the middle of the zone. If you have an altar where you need to kill things near it, the more you kill, the more sort of rewards you get. Now it changes your gameplay in the area because now you're on all those normal quests and things, but now you're dragging stuff over to a fixed location, trying to get yet another benefit for killing stuff near it. Or if you're a new player, just killing what's already there. Min-maxing all the rewards you can get just by doing your normal questing, though, is kind of, it's one of the experienced player games that happens even kind of early on. We try to have a very navigable world, big points of interest, lure you in from a distance, tell a story while we're doing it. So that's why we have, flying rocks in one area, very easy to distinguish. In this case, they've dug up this giant robot. And this is, by now, we're like level 10 or something like this kind of content. We try to make it interactive. In his case, he shoots laser beams out of his eyes, so while you're fighting creatures that are nearby him, you're having to dodge in and out of the laser beams while you're doing everything else. And what this means is, a nice platform you could take, or ball. And so what this effectively means is that the combat in this area feels quite different than combat in the super jump area. It feels quite different from the combat in other areas. And we try to throw these kind of different environments and different environmental hazards about once every sort of half hour or so. And the reason why is because we've all been bored to death inside of other games, and so we're trying to get this really high variety of environments. So as we announce zone after zone after zone, you'll kind of see there's all sorts of interesting stuff scattered about in each of them. And it's layered in with, you're going to get your crack picked out of you, aren't you? You can cheat kill them if you want. I don't, if they make you fight randomly. This is the Esper class. They summon things with their mind, different weapons, different creatures. They charm things. Dude, you're so dead. Yeah, God mode helps. That's why the hit point. Oh no, his hit points are going down. He is actually playing without a net. That's somewhat impressive. We give you benefits the more things you fight at once. One of the elder game mechanics is, or experienced player mechanics is, try to kill as much stuff as you can as fast as you can. You get points for killing things faster. You get points for the more stuff you kill at once. In this particular case, you get extra bonuses if you can lure stuff into his eye beams, because it not just damages the creature, but it's kind of a skill maneuver to pull off as well.
You get benefits for successful dodges and things like that as well.
Yeah, what you'll see is if a creature is a thing, if he successfully moves out of the way, then an evasion bonus will pop up. So these are all the bonuses he's gotten from having dodged things, interrupted things, moving from fight to fight fast. They're all little bonuses you get. In the modern build, actually, it's a little clearer on this. In the show floor build, it says evade and whatnot, but it's evade 9, evade 10, 11 for having dodged all that stuff. You can get XP bonuses, you can get movement bonuses, you can get like little skill enhancements, all that sort of stuff. Dude, that's a pretty epic little fight there, man.
I don't normally play this type of class. I normally play the heavy warrior, so
Well, this is very different because this is a cast bar class. Doing cast bars in the middle of combat is where you have to dodge a lot is actually quite tricky, and so this is one of the more skilled classes to play. Want to wander over to the battleground? Although I admit I'm impressed by your ability to kick butt in a random area I haven't been to before.
So how do you control the levels with the content? You're saying this is a level 10 area, this is a level 6 area.
So it's just open world, so you can go wherever the heck you want. This is a level. Robot area is like level 10-ish. This area is level 14, if I remember. We could go click on creatures and find out.
Recommended level.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You can really go wherever the heck you want. If you want to fight tougher stuff, get more XP. Okay. If you want to fight lower stuff and have an easier time, okay. We don't force anything on anybody for that. You can level up in PvP. So if you want to go to the battlegrounds and just level up through those as you level up, you can. There's dungeons the whole way along. If you want to do group content the whole way, you can. It's really play how you want to play. We pull all the players in our other games, and so 65% of American players tend to play solo mostly. So it's like a massively single-player game. So all the outside content, this is really built for soloers in many ways because soloers don't have distractions of other players and things nearby. It's why we go high variety. This area, you got new monsters here. You got cannon blasts coming in, helping destroy all the stuff that's in the area. Ships are crashing. You can shoot down the enemy ships, or friendly ships crash. You got to go rescue the pilots. High variety. Every area kind of feeling different to it, and as epic as possible. And we try not to do too much kill 10 rat type stuff. But we're also not scared to do goofy things too, because intermixed with this is the odd, down football player or possessed vending machine. It's kind of a more serious area. They got tanks coming in. They're trying to assault. There's a level 20 town that's just over the ridge here that they're attempting to assault.